Oulton chicane. I'm not going there, Julian. It's like me mentioning fat people. I can't do that. So then, down towards Knickerbrook. Number 8, Steve Hislop, under attack from 22. Steve Plater, but back at the front. And talking of attacks, I tell you what, they look sedate back there, Hizzy and Plater. Don't they compare with these two? These two look like they're all over the hockey.
This is the continuation of the Worlds at Donington, isn't it? Where these two were so out of shape, they made Hager look positively sensible.
Yeah, Hager decided not to try and put a pass on him in the end. 4 is Hodgson. We're at Old Hall Corner on the avenue. This is the last lap. This is the challenge from Chris Walker. Chris Walker looks at a fast line down the avenue into Cascades. Will he go to the inside? No, not enough room there. Whoa, watch out, Neil.
This is Neil's best part of the track, we think.
Yeah,
Neil gets it down.
And Walker stays with him, though, so that just indicates how much Walker was going for that into Island Corner now.
Not in range, though.
Yeah, but this is where Walker starts to build out of the Shell Corner and up towards the chicane into the braking area at Shell Corner now. The lake to the left. No time to take a look at the ducks. He might have to duck in a minute, though. Because here comes...
You're right, he got about 3 bike lengths out of him in that corner.
Always does, and then the hustle into the chicane. This is where Walker's at his best. Really tight little turns that he can hustle the bike in. Now he's going to try and get in the Ducati slipstream if he can. Hodgson gets a perfect exit there as 88 Colin Hipwell comes into line. Down towards Knickerbrook now. We've been and done Hilltop, Knickerbrook this is. Through Knickerbrook, the right-hander. Then it's left and over the top of Clay Hill and on towards Druids. This is the last lap, I remind you. We have, what, 2 or 3 corners left to go. Hodgson gets in a little bit, moving. Oh, and he blocks the line at Druids there.
Beautiful.
Yeah, indeed. Walker will now have to hustle it down into the last corner. No one's going to interfere with these two. The last main corner. And Hodgson takes a tight line on the inside there. Takes a tight line. He's going to make Walker go round the outside. No, he's not. He's going to block him off in the middle of the corner. Brilliant tactics there from Hodgson. I tell you what, Hodgson don't want to get it sideways, otherwise Walker will get him to the line. No, it was Hodgson's race. Chris Walker knows it. Good ride from the pair of them. Don't take your hands off the handlebars until you get on the straight, please. Stand up wheelie from Hodgson. Super, and one from Walker. Anything you can do, I can do better. And Catherine is more than happy there as well. That is Neil Hodgson's girlfriend. Superb scenes in pit lane then. Everybody congratulated everybody. Well, the Oulton Park World Superbike winner is the man in form, Neil Hodgson. 17 laps at an average of 106.35 miles an hour. That is just a fraction special. Hodgson is on a roll. And we can take another look at this. Well, Hodgson made Chris Walker go the long way round. That was a very intelligent move from Neil Hodgson there. He forced Walker to go to the outside braking area. Not good enough, because as soon as Hodgson gets in the turn, he's going to slow the bike up, point it and squirt it. And Chris Walker, well, even Chris Walker can't physically ride through the metal of a Ducati. But Walker gets a great drive out of Deers Leap, and Hodgson is in a bit of trouble at this point. But once again, it's Chris Walker who's got to go the long way round the outside to the line. And the drag race, really not a lot to be done between those two bikes, but Hodgson has it despite his rather subdued finish.
The official winning margin, 17/100ths of a second.
The two top men celebrate in style. Stand-up wheelies over Hilltop at some 120 miles an hour. Chris Walker to your left. Neil Hodgson, race winner, to your right. John Reynolds in 3rd place, watching and in awe. And confirmation of the result. Neil Hodgson, the winner from Chris Walker and John Reynolds. James Hayden, a distant 4th. Steve Hislop hanging on for 5th place from Steve Plater. James Toseland, a fine 7th place from him considering his qualifying problems. And John Crawford in 8th. Shane Byrne is back after that injury at Thruxton with 9th place. David Heel in 14th place is the privateer winner. And the championship standings then after 7 races. Neil Hodgson has a 3-point lead now over John Reynolds. Won't be happy about that. Chris Walker gets in front of James Hayden. He's up to 3rd place. Hayden is 4th. Steve Hislop hangs on to 5th. Steve Plater is in 6th place. But it's James Toseland we've got to keep an eye on the Demon Vimto Honda. He now has moved ahead of Neil Mackenzie's INS Ducati. A great result considering his qualifying.
Chris, hard luck. There was about that much in it at the end of the race. You really worked hard there.
Yeah, I mean, Neil lost a bit of time in the middle with the back markers, so I was pretty lucky to be that close. But no, I mean, I fought really hard right to the line, as always, and didn't quite work. It was about 3 inches, wasn't it?
You are very disappointed, aren't you? I can tell.
I am, yeah. But the bike was real good, and the team turned it around for me. I was a little bit worried going out into the race, and they said, don't worry, it's going to be cool, and everything was great. Hopefully, better luck in the next one.
We slipped up in a big way with tyres in that race, and yeah, I mean, it's a long championship, I know that, and I won't keep leading it, but you know, I'm just so disappointed, really. We made a wrong tyre choice, I believe, and you know, that cost us some strong points.
You did fall back quite a way there, hoping to make up for it in the next race, obviously.
Yeah, we need to have a chat and with the boys and the mechanics and that, just to you know, find out exactly what we can do to improve it. I've got a feeling I know what it is. It's just tyres, you know, and we went for a harder compound, which basically lost me a lot of drive out of slow turns, and that's where the time went.
Neil, huge congratulations. Chris nearly caught you there, profited from those back markers a bit, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. It's always difficult when you come across back markers that are, you know, they're in their own race, and I certainly won't slag them off for doing what they were doing. You know, they were riding quite well, actually. Just difficult though, because they were 4 abreast, so I didn't know what to do, and I thought I'd use my head. If I rushed in a bit too fast, I could have made a mistake and run off the track. So I played it pretty cool until the last corner, and then Walker got alongside me, and I thought, oh no! But I managed to hold him off.
You made some brave moves there, particularly on Island Bend. That was great.
Yeah, it's good. It's my favourite corner, so I feel pretty confident pushing the front into there.
Well, you are brimming with confidence. You've just got a new lap record, and obviously now you know that you're heading the championships. Yeah,
I've just found out I'm over the moon. Obviously, that's the goal for the season for me and the team, to win the championship. So far, so good.
Neil Hodgson takes the fans' applause and goes to the top of the podium. Next up, we visit the Supersport Series. The British Supersports Championship is one of the most competitive championships in the world. But this year, in Britain, it's more like an Australian championship. One man that's holding his end up for Britain, in fact Scotland, Jim Moody. You must feel all on your own out there.
Oh yeah, well it's okay. All these Aussie guys are going very, very good, and I've had Aussie teammates for the last 2 years, so I'm sort of getting to know the way they work. But I think it's good for Britain. You know, it makes the British Championship more of a world stage international event, which can only do the sport good.
In fact, that's filtered right the way through the Superbike as well, isn't it? Supersport and Superbike, very, very competitive in Britain. But what about the youngsters? It's a situation where, if you don't mind me saying, you're now a bit of a veteran campaigner, without getting a punch in the mouth here.
So you keep reminding me, Keith.
But how do you feel about being the man that's upholding British honour here? There is no one else really backing you up at the moment, is there?
Well, to be honest, I don't really think about it. You know, I just try and do the best I can every year on the bikes I've got, and yeah, obviously I've noticed it's Australians all around about me, and I'm just trying to do the best I can, and I've always been like that.
Are you happy, in fact, that there aren't anybody else challenging you at the moment? You can be top dog in Britain as far as British people are concerned.
No, not really. I mean, we've got a lot of young Australians at the moment. I would love to see a lot of young British guys, because obviously these guys are going to be the future, and they're going to move on to maybe the World Supersport or even World Superbike. And then we need some British guys as well, because it's good that Australians are here, but we also need some British guys.
And right on Jim Moody's cue, we had some good British qualifying performances, as Jim claimed 4th place on the grid, working their way into the reckoning with the Ducati-mounted Paul Jones and, of course, Scott Smart. Like the Superbikes, it was the first dry session that made up the grid. The second session was a washout. Scott Smart had his best performance in qualifying of the year and then set about getting his wet weather settings perfect. For series leader Kurt McCarthy, it was a nightmare. 10th place on the grid, he's back on the 3rd row. The rain got to everyone. Paul Jones was having a good weekend. Now he's not so sure. And Christopher Mullen didn't shine as bright either. Only 11th for him. Supersports qualifying was trying the patience of all the top names. But in pole position and not risking anything in the wet second session was Australia's Dean Thomas. So Thomas leads off from pole with Paul Jones on the Sigma Performance Ducati in 2nd place, Scott Smart 3rd, and Jim Moody only 4th. 2nd row, Stuart Wickens, Glenn Richards, Howard Whitby and Dave Johnson. Row 3, Tim Paul, Kirk McCarthy, Christopher Mullen and Gary Mason, some famous names there. Brogan, Frost, Nowland and Tinsley are on row 4, and Clare is on the grid.
Well, these guys have only literally just had 5 minutes of practice out on there on the track today. There's a few changes on the front row. Second pole for Dean Thomas, of course. He'll be hoping for a better start than he got at Thruxton. We've also got his teammate over there, Scott Smart. Well, he's on fine form at the moment, and starting from this position, maybe we'll see him on the podium today. But of course, a nice story here. We've got privateer Paul James. So this young man told us to watch out for him.